Welcome back. It is wonderful to have you here after an interesting Warriors game last night. It is a fantastic time to have the opportunity to say hello to head coach Steve Kerr, brought to you by Xfinity. Stay connected, protected, and entertained. Steve, thank you very much for joining us here on Damon and Ratto as always. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing very well. Let's just start by laying out the facts. Ray nor I nor anyone should be upset about an October loss. So no one is upset by what happened last night in any way, shape, or form, but hopefully we can learn from it. Hopefully you can teach from what went wrong last night. So where did you think you guys let go of the rope in that third quarter?
Well, I wouldn't say we let go of the rope. I just think that overall, through 4 games, our defense is non-existent, and it's just tough to win games when you're not defending well. So I thought we did a good job to hang in there in the game. You know, we closed the first half decently offensively. We're making shots. We're spreading them out. But when you're not getting stops and you're giving up easy points, either through transition or the foul line, it's just really hard to stay in a game, especially against a great team like Phoenix. So it just showed how much work we have ahead of us. But it's a long season. We'll get there.
Did you get the sense early on? Because I thought my wife even said to me, she said, "Is this game 4 of the season or game 4 of the Western Conference Finals?" Like the blistering pace that game opened up with. Did you think to yourself, this is probably not going to be the night where we settle down defensively, just based on how we're running here? I mean, it was like 8 seconds or less. Everyone was getting a shot up.
Yeah, the pace through 4 games has been just ridiculous. I mean, it is so high, unsustainably high. We've always believed in playing with pace, but right now it just feels like I'm looking at a pickup game. You know, we're flying up and down the floor. We're giving up all kinds of transition opportunities to our opponent. We're dead last right now in transition points allowed per game. We're not really playing with a purpose, and that can mean a lot of different things. What that means to me is we're not connecting the game offensively and defensively. You know, when you have good offensive possessions and you take good shots, generally you're in position to get back defensively and to get a stop, and vice versa. You know, you play great defense, you're in a better position to score. Right now there doesn't seem to be much purpose to our game. We're just sort of out there flying around, and even though we're playing hard and guys are trying, we're just kind of rudderless. And there are reasons for that. We can get into that, but you said it. It's really early in the season. We've got a lot of new guys, new faces, young faces. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's exciting just thinking about the challenge ahead.
Well, let's get into that rudderlessness you just referred to. For a team with as much veteran presence as this has, how are you seeing rudderlessness? How are you defining it as it relates to your team through 4 games?
Well, in the detail within the game, it starts with the transition defense. I mean, that's just been abysmal. And it's so hard to gain any traction in a game when a team is just throwing the ball ahead and getting easy buckets against you. Now, the flip side of that is we're doing the same thing to our opponents. We're getting a lot of throw-aheads, a lot of buckets in transition. And as long as our starting 5 is out there, we're fine. We're hanging in games, or we're even dominating games like we did against Sacramento and the Lakers. But this is not a year ago where we're playing 9 or 10 veteran guys who have been around. We're playing a lot of young guys, guys who haven't done this before. Every combination that we throw out there once the starting lineup is broken up is just going to have some youth or some new faces like Dante or JaMychal, and that's never an easy position to be in when you go to a new team, because there's new terminology, new schemes. So it just feels to me like we're a new group that has not yet adjusted to finding an identity.
Given what you just described, would you suggest that that's normal, or is this still abnormal given who you guys are and how you made your reputations defensively?
No, I think this is normal. And coming off of a championship, not only a championship, but our sixth trip to the finals in 8 years, it's hard to expect, Draymond, Klay, Steph, Loon, hard to expect these guys to be in, playoff mode from an intensity standpoint. I think they've all played hard and they've all played well. Wiggs has had a great start to the season. Draymond's pushing in transition over the last few games has been fantastic. So it's not that guys aren't playing hard. It's just the mental focus and attention to detail that it takes to really be connected with a new group is not there yet, and that's what we've got to work towards.
Warriors head coach Steve Kerr here on 95.7 The Game. Klay Thompson tossed for the first time in his career. Did you sense it coming, or were you surprised by it as I think we were?
Well, once it started, where he and Booker were going at it, that I've seen that before. Klay gets into it with opponents. He's so competitive. So that didn't surprise me. But once they really got into it and they had to be separated, I could see Klay's anger. A lot of it was just frustration from the slow start to the season, minutes restriction, not playing in training camp, live minutes, like all that stuff came to the forefront and was part of the frustration that led to the ejection. And I don't think I ever got ejected as a player, but I've been ejected several times as a coach. So I know what he was going through and what he was feeling. And sometimes as a competitor, you just kind of lose your mind, and it happens.
Is it time in any way to forget about the 4 rings for the players who have them and say, hey, according to this season, we've got 0 rings. We're after this ring. And is there something unhealthy about pointing to a ring total?
No, not at all. Not at all. In a moment like that, it's entirely appropriate. Like, if 2 guys are talking trash, you got the ultimate counter. We won. I won. That's always the ultimate counter. Now, that's not going to help us win a 5th. It doesn't mean anything as it relates to trying to win this coming year. But it's definitely something you can use in a trash talking conversation. But I think the bigger point is that over the course of the next couple of months, we have to move forward. From last year, from the last 8 years to this one, and to recognize this is a totally new team, and we're relying on a lot of new players and young players, and this is going to take a lot of work and for all of us. And when we recognize that, I think we're going to be on a good path, but it's going to take a while for all of that to come to fruition.
And I know you don't like talking about players on other teams. You'd rather talk about your own. But to me, I thought that Devin Booker grew up a little bit last night. And the way that he talked about Klay postgame, saying, look, I wanted to be Klay Thompson. I love Klay Thompson. But he has things that I want. It just felt like last night might have been the night where he took over the real leadership reins from maybe even Chris Paul for the Phoenix Suns.
I didn't see any of the post-game comments. I didn't look at that, but I've gotten to know Devin because we were in Tokyo at the Olympics last summer. Great guy, hell of a player. He and Klay would actually be good buddies if they were on the same team. They just happened to play the same position, and as Devin said, he wants what Klay has, and that's how this league works. It's the young guys are coming for the older ones. The older guys are trying to, stave off the young guys, and that's sometimes the very best competition there is. So,
is there a little
more coming?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but is there a little of that playing out on your own roster?
I think that's an interesting observation. I think the way I would put it is we have to find our identity with this year's group, and that is a very unique time for us. We've never been in this position really. Last year would be the closest, but you think about this run that we've been on. We've always had veterans coming off the bench who were stabilizers. You know, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, Zaza Pachulia, David West, David Lee. You know, we've had these guys who have been around for a long time, who were helping guide the team, helping lead the team. You know, now we have a group of guys coming off the bench who are just trying to figure out what's what. And so it's a very different leadership dynamic, very different kind of roster dynamic that we're looking at this year, and that requires different leadership from within and a different way of looking at things. So, as I said, we got a lot of work to do, and that's part of it.
I don't want to play roster construction games after 4 games, but given what you just said, could you use another veteran presence on the bench just sort of as stabilizer? Because maybe in your view, you're too young in position 6 through 10 right now.
No. I think what we need is patience more than anything. You know, you qualified it by saying we're 4 games in, and I will, you know, enhance your point and just say that, you know, 4 games in, it's way too early to determine something like that. I think you look at Phoenix last night; they're buttoned up, they are ready to play. They're angry from, you know, what happened in the playoffs to them last year. They're playing all vets. You can see they have their identity. This is who they are, and they're going to win a lot of games. But for us, it's a matter of developing the young guys and implementing them into the fabric of a group that's been together for a long time, and that in itself just takes a while. And but the exciting thing is we've got talented players. These guys are gifted, and so as they catch up to the ways of the NBA and to the schemes and the things we're trying to accomplish, the ceiling gets higher.
Is that a more difficult process than maybe you might have thought in the abstract, 6 weeks ago? Or did you fully expect this to be the early season dynamic?
I expected some of this. You never really know what you have until you see it, until things start to unfold. I think both Dante and Jamichael are going to be important parts of our team. Dante's injury the last couple of games has hurt us. He's a connector. He's a guy who kind of helps things flow. And one of the reasons I went to Ty Jerome last night, I thought the ball was just sticking, and we needed some flow. And we found a combination out there with Ty and Jordan Poole and Steph and Draymond and that group, and it was like, oh yeah, this looks right, and so we're going to need some of our veteran guys to provide that as the young guys kind of get molded and figure out what this is all about. But it's just a new challenge. Every year's a new challenge. That's one of the things that makes coaching so much fun. You kind of have to figure it out and then help the guys through that whole process.
Steve Kerr, you're on Damon and Ratto. Did you think that Jonathan Kuminga would be more in focus earlier in the year? Do you feel that coming later in the year? I think we were all a little surprised to see Ty Jerome get into the game last night before Jonathan Kuminga. Is there anything to be inferred by that other than what you just said? You thought the ball was sticking and maybe he would unstuck it.
Well, you're talking about a point guard or a four-man. So it's like, this is not a pecking order. This is not like who deserves to go in the game first based on, some random thought. This is, we need a point guard on the floor. So, of course, I'm going to go with the point guard and not the power forward.
Sure. Is there anything to Kuminga's lack of playing time that I just thought we would be seeing more of him early on, especially when you're worried about minutes for your older players. He hasn't been involved very much, or he doesn't appear in first halves.
Well, I mean, you can only play so many guys. It's really hard to play more than 10. Even 10 can be a stretch. We've generally played 10. So if you look at our group, that's you're gonna reach 11 when you look at the players you'd like to see out there. So we don't have enough space when everybody is healthy. But 4 games in, we've got a couple back-to-backs coming up. There's likely to be guys, sitting, likely to be, guys getting banged up. There's going to be plenty of time for JK, for Moses, for Wise. But this is all, it's all part of development. It's, development doesn't just equal playing time in games. It's everything. It's watching film. It's performing in practice. It's learning, it's growing, and so all of our young guys are going to have to go through all of these growing pains. And we got a championship team. We don't, we're not just handing out minutes just for the sake of handing them out. We're actually trying to accomplish something here, and our guys are bought in. They understand that, and they're all going to be fine.
You mentioned the unsustainable pace that you guys have been playing at through 4 games. Is there another number or numbers that when you look at it concerns you more than it would normally after 4 games?
Another number?
A stat or series of stats that trouble you.
We're dead last in transition points allowed in the league. It just looks like a pickup game out there. And so there's just no sense of the importance of taking away the easy points, which is always a key indicator for us as to whether we'll be successful or not. So 30th in transition points allowed, I think 20th in defensive efficiency, maybe 25th in fouling and free throws allowed. So those are all the numbers I'm looking at that we have to get cleaned up.
Steve, there's been a ton of finger wagging, obviously, at Draymond Green. We all know why. Here's the very first thing I have to say about Draymond. Boy, he was right to get that tech last night. I mean it. Like, I don't normally support Draymond Green technicals, but that was well-earned. He deserved to say what the hell happened there. You deserved to have his back in that moment. And if you had lost that game by the margin of those free throws, I'm still cool with it. That was a terrible no call. Will you be sending that video to the league?
No. I think we're not in the practice of sending video into the league. There's missed calls every game, and that's just part of it. I had no problem with Draymond getting the tee. They had missed a similar one in the first half when he got fouled at the rim, where the refs ruled that it was a verticality play that was definitely not a clean verticality play. So he was upset. I was upset. It happens. You just move on. I haven't thought twice about it since last night.
I know you don't want to give us the lineups for the back-to-backs that you're going to be dealing with, but has that already been planned out with you and the training staff? Who might sit when?
Not yet. That will be a discussion for the next couple of days, and so we'll see how that goes. But to the point I made earlier, there's going to be opportunities for players to be out there, and everyone's just got to stay ready.
Steve, thank you so very much, man. We really appreciate all the time that you give us in your interviews and early start to the year here. It's so good to have the Warriors back. I mean, I'm just a basketball junkie, so I know it's going to all start working out and everybody finds their own level, but it's always a fascinating process to watch unfold and how you pull the strings to make it all happen. We appreciate your time as always, man. Good luck Thursday night against Miami, and then bon voyage for the 5-gamer.
Sounds good. Thanks, fellas. We'll see you later.
Thank you very, very much. Steve Kerr, you're on 95.7 The Game.